So nothing was happening in Star Wars for like ever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone turned on the water hose, and we're just drinking straight from the water hose right now in terms of Star Wars content.
Yeah, the floodgates opened. We've got some new images from productions. We've got some rumors. We've got potentially some trailers coming out pretty soon. It like nothing was going on for a little bit, and now everything's happening. So it's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan.
It's so exciting. So we've got a bit of a breaking news. If you're listening to this early in the morning as this comes out, you might want to be on the lookout on social media for a new trailer. I guess actually for the very first official trailer to the public for The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the newest rumor that is spreading right now as of Wednesday night. We're recording this before Thursday morning, if you're listening to it on Thursday morning. So September 18th, there's a rumor going around that The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is going to be dropping online sometime Thursday, September 18th. Is that true? I don't know.
Like we've been told that trailers are coming out before, and
exactly.
Those times have come and gone.
Exactly.
But we've got it seems pretty likely this go around. There's a little more buzz.
It feels so like I'll say this. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn here, okay? But I will say, when my gut feels this way, it's usually 85% right, and it feels that way. Like, I think this is going to happen, and it just kind of, I feel like this is the time, especially with what happened earlier today in terms of some Star Wars things that we got. I feel like all of a sudden Lucasfilm's like, maybe this mystery box thing is not what we should do anymore. Maybe we should kind of let people know what we're doing and get some buzz and excitement about it. And I'm here for it. So I hope that the trailer does come out. And if it does, we will come with a brand new episode breaking it down sometime before the weekend is over. We've got to have time to, number one, watch it a million times and analyze it, but then also just kind of find some time to sit down and record that breakdown. So just know it will be coming.
Yeah, for sure. But one of those news items that we mentioned up top was we got some Starfighter images.
Yeah, we did.
There was one that was kind of the first official production image that they released that came out a few weeks ago. We just didn't get a chance to talk about it. I really like it. It's really moody. It's giving this almost kind of brutalist feel. It's in black and white. That may be intentional to not reveal too much information via the color palette or anything like that. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen now. This is really exciting. It's just cool to see that, they are filming. Things are being built. Things are being put to film. What's your thoughts on this image?
Well, we didn't get to talk about it about 3 weeks ago because we had pre-recorded a lot of our episodes that we'd done for the Mandalorian Rewatch, and now we're caught up. Yeah. So we didn't get to talk about this particular image at all. It's so exciting, number one, just to know, Mac, that a Star Wars movie is being filmed right now. Like, not just a TV show, but a movie.
Yeah.
That's exciting in itself, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even this image, and a quick description if you're listening, it's basically just, Ryan Gosling, and then I'm the child, the kid's names escaping me at the moment.
No, there's no way we can know.
No, it's unretrievable information, but they're sitting on top of a speeder, and then the background is kind of this industrial, there's like some concrete, some duct work.
Flynn Gray
is
a great
playing
name.
the child character, not like the child like Grogu, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And they're just kind of sitting on the speeder. It's I don't think this is an actual still from the film or anything like that. I think they specifically set this up to give us a little sneak peek. But yeah, it's it doesn't give us a whole lot, but it's an interesting tone that they're trying to set.
It's giving Corellia a little bit in that very first image that we got. It's I think supposed to evoke Han Solo a little bit. And then the image that came out today that Sean Levy shared on his social media was a better look at Ryan Gosling's character and Flynn Gray's character. and they're on a water planet. And if you're watching on YouTube, we've got the image up right now, and they've got some sort of like, I don't know if they're like speeders or something like that. They've got some sort of equipment with them. Yeah. And you get a really good look at both of their characters in this image.
I think they're pulling the wool over our eyes. I think the real title of this film is Star Wars Boat Driver. Because that's what this is looking like. It's looking like Waterworld with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
It's good. Full color this time. It looks Ryan Gosling has not cracked a smile in any of the pictures or anything that we've seen. I think his character is going to be fairly stoic, serious.
You think so?
I think so. Like, he could still be played to comedic effect, right? Like, he could be almost overly serious I think there will be some laughs surrounding his character and everything, but he's giving this kind of Flynn Rider smolder. It's a very, he seems like a very kind of reserved, cool, at least he wants people to think he's cool character.
So I think clearly from this image that we get of Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray's characters, who we don't know their names, they look related. Like, I think we're supposed to take away from one of the rumors early on when they announced this at Star Wars Celebration was that Ryan Gosling was playing his uncle. Yeah. And like, he was trying to protect the young child from evil forces. That's pretty much all we know, and I feel like that's probably accurate based on this image.
I think that's accurate. Even if they're not blood related, they're at least coming from the same close-knit community. I mean, they're dressed kind of exactly the same. They seem to be, involved in the same activities and that kind of thing. They definitely look like they're at least coming from the same world. So
right. Now, I will point out, you like this YouTube red arrow I've put on. If you're watching on the YouTube, I've got a red arrow up pointing at Ryan Gosling's pants. So that's always fun. But if you take a good look at his pants, I don't know if you did or not, they're giving Han Solo. Like major, almost kind of like a new age Carillion stripes thing going on his pants.
I had kind of a different interpretation.
Okay.
They almost look like wrestling pants or like something a motorcycle rider would wear to me.
A little bit of a motorcycle rider. Yeah,
it looks like they've got like some reinforcement, some padding kind of deal. They're kind of leather, they're kind of tight. That's probably.
I would imagine, Mac. I would imagine
Ryan Gosling. So.
Yeah, I would imagine that they're like his Starfighter pants, right?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he and also the pants are the big difference in the way that he's dressed to where Flynn Gray is dressed. Looks like Flynn Gray's character is wearing much more utility kind of normal everyday workwear pants. And then Ryan Gosling's character has very specialized looking, lower wear. I think they're definitely involved in, the Starfighter of it all, whatever his occupation is. Maybe he's a racer. There's some big speculation that we'll have to get into revolving around racing.
Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that animated show, which takes place pretty close to this movie, 5 to 6 years before this movie takes place, where the majority of the action takes place is on a water planet like this, and there are starfighters that are racing and stuff like that. So maybe
Castellan, I think is the name.
Castellan. Yeah. So maybe it's connected to that in some way. My guess, Mac, is that this is a completely brand new planet. I don't think that this is going to be a planet that we've ever been to before.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this popped into my head, but it is almost like if I'm thinking this is the opposite of Tatooine in the sense of like, this is where we start. And they were thinking, let's do something very much like the original Star Wars, but instead of a desert planet, it's a water planet.
Okay,
So
I get
so
that.
maybe this is where the movie starts. This is like kind of the opening place that the adventure begins. I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of like the Castellan theory. I think
I do too.
Resistance is a show that didn't make quite the splash in pop culture. I think like Clone Wars or Rebels did, and it was a different show with kind of different intentions behind its purpose and stuff like that. Different audience, but I do think this would be a really cool way to kind of graft that show into the main canon in a firmer way, kind of make it more must-watch material, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think Ryan Gosling's character could definitely be a racer on Castellan, and then maybe Flynn Gray's character works, in his pit crew or something like that. And obviously that would be the jumping off point for the movie. I'm sure they're going to leave this world and get caught up in some kind of crazy adventure, but I wouldn't mind that being the world they're coming from. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, that would...
and like racing is also just so integral to Star Wars, I think. Not even just in pod racing, but just George Lucas's influences. He loved the San Francisco car culture. I mean, look at American Graffiti, drag racing. He really liked. I mean, X-Wings are based on drag racing cars. So I like it. I think that would be a cool basis for that movie. But
I like the idea that it's somehow connected to Star Wars Resistance. I do. There's something in me that's like, that feels pretty cool. I like that. And then it might draw more eyes to that property that I feel like got largely ignored even by Star Wars fans. Right. I think it is really just because it was coming out at a really weird time of like, The Mandalorian was really making waves, which we're going to be talking about on this episode, obviously doing the Mandalorian Rewatch. That's why we're here.
It is why we're here.
Yeah. But like, I feel like because of what was going on with the Mandalorian specifically, I feel like Resistance kind of got ignored a little bit. Yeah. So it'd be cool if it got a little bit more attention. Funny enough, I was watching Resistance last night. Like there was nothing like in my mind of like, what I want to put something Star Wars on, but not have to pay a ton of attention to. And that's what I put on. So nice. Maybe something, the Force was telling me something, I don't know. But I did want to point out real quick, again, if you're watching on the YouTube, I've got Flynn Gray's character's head circled with a big red circle, like on YouTube, because we're on YouTube. You should check out our YouTube. So I'm kind of joking when I say this, but I want to say it in case I'm right. This kid looks exactly like Ken Palpatine from the EU. Yeah. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Wikipedia, look up Ken Palpatine, read his backstory, and that's all I'm going to say about it. He looks exactly like him.
Okay, interesting. What if he could be maybe not like a direct descendant, but could be related to Rey somehow, and kind of that that lineage. Maybe one of the other Palpatine offspring from. I don't know if I want more information on that on all of that. No, but we're missing some pieces, so that does leave possibilities open. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I think we should probably jump into what we're actually here for, and that's the Mandalorian Rewatch. We're doing episode 6, The Prisoner. What do you say we jump into this, Matt?
That's right. And you are listening to Children of the Watch. I'm Mac Lacey.
And I'm Alex Maxwell, and today we are continuing the Mandalorian Rewatch to prepare for the next Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and hopefully we get a trailer today by the time you're listening to this. We are rewatching every single episode of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. If you're new to our podcast, we break down every single episode of Star Wars television, scene by scene, to analyze the story, find comb for Easter eggs, and explain how it all connects to the larger Star Wars universe. And we're going to be doing that with episode 6, The Prisoner. If you haven't listened to our previous 5 episodes, I encourage you to go back and listen to those. It's they're so much fun. We're having so much fun revisiting and like making connections on things that could potentially impact the movie in a really big way. And I think we're going to maybe find out some things when we get that trailer and we see that maybe there's some things like even all the way in season 1 that is connected to that movie. So I'm really excited to talk about this one in particular because I think there could be another New Republic connection based on what happens in this episode. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But we want to hear from you guys. Maybe you've just watched the Mandalorian Grogu trailer. Maybe you're listening to this and you've got a new idea. We want to hear your ideas, and you could be featured on the podcast by calling our voicemail hotline number. That's 205-259-6675. That's 205-259-6675. And call in, keep it 3 minutes, no longer than 3 minutes. If it's over, it's going to cut you off. If you mess up, hang up, try again, and we will use your best one. You can also email us at mandalorianwatch@gmail.com if you're not comfortable calling in for whatever reason. And then follow us over on social media at COT Watch on all the things, especially on TikTok and Instagram. We're trying to make a big push on those two platforms specifically. And then, of course, YouTube. Yeah. We're not a YouTube show like traditionally, but we're trying to make inroads there. So if you listen and you will maybe later in the day want to go put on the YouTube, that would be a huge help to us.
Yeah, for sure. We are trying to create an audience over there. Like, we have such an amazing community that listens in audio wise, and we're trying to create our video audience still. So, you can assist us in that. And we also have our Patreon. If you want more of what we do, there's over 100 bonus episodes. We're actually going to be probably putting one out here pretty soon. May record a little something for the patrons after this. So we're putting stuff out over there all the time. If you want more, for just $2, you can get access to all of that and our amazing Discord community. A lot of you guys are so cool to talk to over there and everything. Love what we have going on. But go to patreon.com/Mandalorian Watch, and you, for $2 a month, you get access to all of that. So I believe it's time to get into the episode.
Let's do it. So this is episode 6, The Prisoner, and the air date was December 13th, 2019. The director is once again Rick Famuyiwa. This is his second episode for The Mandalorian, the first one being Chapter 2, The Child. And we actually get different writer for this one, and it's two different people. It's not Jon Favreau, and I think you feel that, actually. That's one of the things that I think I'm identifying on this rewatch of like, that's why this one feels different, is because Jon Favreau's not writing it. And so the writers are Rick Famuyiwa and Christopher Yost, who wrote many, many Star Wars Rebels episodes.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, this one definitely feels Star Wars in the way that the action goes, how the mission is kind of laid out and everything. There is a different feel to it. It feels less Western for sure. There's also Rick Famuyiwa, I think, really solidified himself as a key voice in the creation of The Mandalorian. Because from this episode, he goes on to do so many important things in the later seasons. But yeah, there's different music in this one. There's a huge cast of characters, and the actors playing them, it's wild. Yeah. I in the past, this has not been my favorite episode. I think because it does feel a little bit different from the rest.
Yeah.
But this time, I really, really enjoyed watching it. I had a completely different opinion. I don't know if it's just time has ingratiated me to it or what it is, but it seemed almost like this is the big single on the album that has the big feature. Like this is The Mandalorian featuring all these crazy celebrity, these big name actors and stuff like that, or like a on a big wrestling pay-per-view, you've got the one match that's like the celebrity gimmick match kind of deal, and you're bringing in somebody who's not really supposed to be there, but it's entertaining and that kind of stuff. That's kind of what this episode feels
Jelly
like.
roll. Yeah.
It's the jelly roll match from SummerSlam, which was more entertaining than it had any right to be.
So that's this episode. Well, and I still contend that I think that this thematically would fit better as 4 than 6. Yeah. I still think that, but I am with you. I so much more enjoyed it on this rewatch than I ever have before.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's also because we know Mayfeld a little bit better now because of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
And he does come back. Like, The Believer in season 2 is my favorite episode of The Mandalorian, I think. And because Mayfeld is a big part of that, I think that may be a big point there. That's a good observation.
It could be that. But then there's also just things that I enjoy about it that is just so straightforward, and it's just like it's almost like a heist movie in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of a Batman movie at some points in it. So like there's a lot of things that I like about it that I don't think I appreciated it back when it first aired. Like I enjoyed it when it came out, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did now. So. Yeah. All right. So let's get into it. We begin this episode with the Razor Crest landing in a space station hangar. And as Din exits the crest, he is greeted by a bearded man, the guy who plays Flask, but for some reason not named Flask in Batman Begins.
Is he not Bullock?
He's Bullock. No, he's not Bullock. He's not either of those characters.
He's not either of them?
No.
He could be either of them.
I know.
I always
it's
just
so
thought he was Harvey Bullock.
No. He's
Interesting.
neither of them, and it really frustrates me that like those are like established characters in the Batman lore, and it's very clear that that's who he is, but he's not named that. Like it's like Toro Calican is Dash Rendar. It's like come on.
Yeah,
it's the same person.
Nolan also rolled the mob bosses into one person instead of Falcone and Marconi. It's Falcone, I think.
Yeah. But. Well, there's Maroni. Maroni's in the second one. In the second one. He just is not featured in the first one very much. All right.
If you want more of our DC opinions, check out The Watchtower, sporadically releasing episodes anywhere you get podcasts.
Dude, I am enjoying Peacemaker so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm enjoying it a lot. Anyway, so this guy is Ranzar Malk, who just goes by Rand.
Yeah.
And he's shocked to see Din and surprised that he even reached out to him. And Mac, you get a sense that there's clearly a past here.
Yeah.
And I would love for that past to be explored. The whole time I was watching this episode, Mac, I was thinking, I want to know what they mention it later, but I want to know what happened on Alzok 3. Like, I want to know how this group had a falling out. I want to know how they got together. It's just ripe for a novel. And I feel like that's easy to do without stepping on toes of what's to come. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be an easy story to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, maybe after the film, Mandalorian and Grogu comes out, it'll kind of free up more of those stories just because they know for sure because they could add some flashback stuff that they don't want to mess with, like the Mandalorian and Grogu could reveal some stuff about Din's past that they want to just get out there, and then maybe we can work around that and start filling in these gaps with novels, comic series. Like I think there's tons of ripe storytelling there. So, a video game. I'd love give me Red Dead Redemption, but with Din. I think that'd be sick.
That would be sick. Dude, you know how much we would play that video game? We would never stop playing that video game.
This podcast would cease to exist because we couldn't stop playing this video game to record.
We would just have to open up a Twitch streaming channel, I think, just to constantly be playing it, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that'd be the only way forward.
I don't know, but
anyway.
I agree with you. I think there is so much potential for a young Den novel. Come on, give it to me. Yeah. Come on, give it to me. Come on, Lucasfilm. I know you want to. Give it to me. Give it to me right now. Okay, so Rand has heard he's had some trouble with the Bounty Hunters Guild and tells him that he is welcome here anytime. So you also get the sense, too, like these guys aren't even good enough. Like, and I'm not saying like skilled enough. I'm saying like they're so bad they're not a part of the bounty hunters guild that that's the kind of missions that these guys are doing.
They're doing the stuff that nobody else will for one reason or another. And, you know, I think moral, boundaries are probably more often than not the reason.
Right. So Rand explains one of their associates got caught by some competitors and he's putting together a crew to spring him out of prison. It's a 5-person job and look who just showed up. And what they really need, the reason that Rand let him even come on the space station to begin with is because of the crest is what they call it. Now, here's something that is frustrating now knowing that we've seen all of the Mandalorians so far is that the Razor Crest is actually the designation of the ship and not the name.
Yeah.
But they're treating it very much like the name in this episode.
I feel like, you know how maybe somebody has like growing up in your high school friend group when everybody's first getting cars and stuff, somebody gets a really old, like it's a really cool car, but it's like really
like a
old
Bronco?
and kind of run down. Yeah. Or like like a really old Charger or something like that. And then it just becomes like the Charger. You're like, oh, I'm going to take the Charger up to, I think maybe that's how the Razor Crest terminology works.
I like that. That totally fixes it in my mind. So thank you for that. Yeah, that I like that. But here's the thing. Den is very wary for them to use it. And Rand says that that's the only reason he really let him come back is because of the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Rand then takes him to the new point man since he's no longer going on missions. And it's Bill Burr's Miggs Mayfeld. And this is where we get his introduction. And I remember, Mac, whenever we were watching this episode for the first time, I was like, Bill Burr, what is he doing in the Mandalorian? Because he never really had a ton of acting experience before this. Now he has now because of this show, I would say. But like before this is like the comedian. Right.
And the part is not really especially comedic. It's not even really a funny part. Normally you bring in a big name comedian to do a bunch of gags, and like if the acting's not that great, it doesn't really matter because everybody knows they're just kind of there to be funny and bring some humor to the episode or whatever. And I guess that's more what I was expecting, and that's not what we get. Bill Burr is just straight up, putting his head down, going to work, playing the Star Wars character. And he does fantastic. He was one of the biggest surprises about the show, honestly, was just like how good of an actor Bill Burr was.
Especially with what he does in The Believer, right? Like for me, that's like Andor level like scene in terms of like the acting and the tension of it and all of it. And a lot of that is because of him. So it's just so good, dude. So Rand has put Miggs Mayfeld in charge now. Like he's the guy that's basically in charge on the missions in his stead. And Rand tells him that the guy, he tells Miggs Mayfeld like, hey, this is the guy that I was talking to you about before. So they've had conversations about Den when Den was not there. Like, so Mayfeld has heard about Den a lot because they've been talking about him. And Mayfeld asked what he got out of running with this crew, and Rand says target practice. And Den mentions that was a long time ago. So here's like another layer to this is, so maybe Den as a younger man was a little bit angrier, a little rougher around the edges. And that's a story I want to know, like of like Den learning how to temper himself and when to attack and when not to. I think he probably learned that with this crew.
Yeah. That's a really good observation. They're all talking about him like he's the Terminator, and while we have kind of seen that out of him, that's not the primary thing about his character. That's the benefit of us as the audience. We're getting, we're privy to a lot of moments that this crew is not. So we know more about Den, but I do want those stories when, he's got more of a chip on his shoulder, kind of more to prove, maybe a little more headstrong, a little more trigger happy. I'd love to see some stories about that.
I don't know. It's just so much potential there, I feel like. And I just, come on, give it to me. I want some more. So Rand explains to Din that Mayfeld was once an Imperial sharpshooter, and Din makes the comment, that's not saying much, of course, because stormtroopers, we all know.
Some meta humor. It's a little Star Wars joke,
It's a little Star Wars joke, and Mayfeld gets offended and says that he wasn't a stormtrooper. But it makes me think of, like, now that we've seen Andor, especially episode 8 of season 2, was Mayfeld one of those guys of, like,
up on the
shooting into the crowd? You know what I'm saying?
Gorman.
Like, yeah.
He definitely, I mean, that's what an Imperial sharpshooter would do.
But I mean, and then we know, of course, what happens to him on Burnin' Khan and his unit. That's also ripe for a story. Like, that would be a great novel as well. Just like learning a little bit about Mayfeld and his backstory and how he came into the Empire, and then, of course, everything that happened after that. That would be such a good story that I'm so down for. Lucasfilm, come on. So there's a lot with that. So you get from the get-go, you get that there's tension between Mayfeld and Din. And here's the thing, Din kind of is antagonizing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on that. Like, it's not so much Mayfeld all the time. Din is the one that is sometimes pushing the buttons himself.
Yeah, I think there's just this immediate animosity between it's two big fish in the same pond kind of deal. I think they're both used to being kind of the baddest around at any time, and they're kind of squaring up in that way.
So, I mean, I guess you could say Din is maybe a little bit intimidated. Not intimidated, maybe not the right word, but like Mayfeld, like he clocks Mayfeld immediately and it's like, that's the guy that I need to be worried about of this crew.
Yeah, he recognizes him as a threat, or like he recognizes the strength of Mayfeld, I think.
Yeah.
And more so than the others. Because the others, I think, all have very obvious weaknesses, right, and ways to kind of get around them and manipulate them and stuff, like psychologically.
Right.
But then Mayfeld's not really that way, so...
No. So Mayfeld doesn't think much of the Razor Crest, saying it's a Canto Bight slot machine. That was like another kind of really cool thing in the moment when he mentioned Canto Bight, because obviously making that connection to the sequel trilogy, because at the time there had been a lot of fans who were like, no, the Mandalorian's paving like a new canon forward, and that's nope, it's still part of the same thing. Then Mayfeld introduces his associates, Deveronian named Berg, which is basically just the devil,
played by Clancy Brown.
Yeah,
huge get there. He's been in everything. He's done tons of voices for.
He's in Star Wars.
Yeah, he plays several characters in Star Wars. He's in like Starship Troopers. There's all kinds of stuff he's in.
He's in Lost.
Yeah.
He is. Smells like carrots. You don't get that.
No, I don't.
Seen it. What did one snowman say to the other? Smells like carrots is the code.
I get the joke. I get the joke though. It's pretty fun.
It is pretty fun. Then there's the droid Zero. I really, really like Zero, the droid. I'm going to come back to that, but I like this droid and I like his look. And then one of the original crew members that Rand had is still there, and it's a Twi'lek named Xi'an.
Yeah.
And this actress is in Game of Thrones.
Natalia
right?
Tina. She plays Osha, or like Osha, the wildling character that's with Bran and all that. She's so great, and she's perfect to bring in for kind of an unhinged character. She plays like a little bit crazy so well. Mm-hmm. And Xi'an certainly fits that description.
Yeah, she does. And immediately Xi'an pulls a knife on him, and Din doesn't even flinch. She asks why she shouldn't kill him right where he stands, and then begins flirting with him. And there's like this indication that these two actually had a relationship back in the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's classic, like, femme fatale stuff.
Yeah. Like Asajj Ventress a little bit with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, very much so. But I think there's a much more real implied history here.
Yeah.
I do tend to like. I think probably if we were to get this story, there'd be some twist on it. It's not like they were just like straight up dating or something.
Yeah.
I don't see Din doing that. But you never know.
You never know. It was his younger days. Who knows? So Rand tells the lovebirds to break it up, and then Berg sizes him up and calls him tiny. So then it's time to go over the plan, and Zero checks the Razor Crest systems and finds a garbled transmission from Grief, but he can't really make it out. Here's where I want to talk about Zero. There's been a lot of droids, I feel like, especially in Star Wars television, that I just don't feel like translate super well. Like, my mind, and I don't mean to do this, okay, but like my mind goes straight to the Acolyte in the first episode, that like Enforcer droid. I think that's the worst looking droid I've ever seen in Star Wars, just because like it looks so clunky and odd and clearly like someone in a suit. It reminded me of something like in Doctor Who. And there's a lot of droids like that. That's just the one that popped up in my mind because I recently rewatched The Acolyte.
Yeah.
This one, they did a really good job on, because like I don't know if it's the bug-eyed look of it or just the way that the performer moves inside the suit. It's just a really good job.
Yeah, I think they used Forlom as kind of the base template in terms of kind of a bounty hunting droid, the eye, like it's not like it's the same head or anything like that, but it kind of has that same bug-like look. There's Forlom and Zuckuss. It's kind of like this droid's kind of a combination of them almost.
Yeah, a little bit.
But and the dialogue's good. It's got a good personality. Like droids have to have a very strongly identifiable singular personality to stand out, and this definitely, Zero comes through. He's analytical, critical, but like in a I don't know, just it's in a drier way than a lot of like K2's kind of sarcastic. Mm-hmm. Zero has just like a very dry delivery of everything.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like Zero. I'm a big Zero fan, I think, especially with this rewatch. I was like, I like this one. Briefing the team, Mayfeld tells everyone that the prisoner is being moved into a fortified transport ship, and they have a limited window to get in and get out before it jumps into hyperspace. And Din points out that it's a New Republic correctional transport, and that kind of freaks him out a little bit. He's not sure if he really wants to get involved because of that, and Rand says a job's a job. But Din doesn't want to bring that kind of heat, and Shion says that the whole ship is crewed by droids, pointing out how much he hates them. So again, like, they know already how much he hates droids and how much he's probably going to hate working with Zero, and they're still going forward with it. So there's like little red flags, I think, that Din's just maybe not picking up on, or he just doesn't care and he needs the credits.
Yeah. It may just kind of be that he doesn't really have another choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they were going to do more with Din's droidism, like his droid racism? It feels like they did enough to where you can see a gradual change in the character and everything, but there was never that big payoff moment for all of that, because they really build up that he hates droids, and then he just kind of starts working with droids.
I think you kind of get it a little bit in the finale of season 1, just with the turn of IG-11 and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, They have a little moment in the ferry, I think, coming up, but it's just a little moment, right? Yeah. There's not like where it's like, I don't feel like there's a moment where Din is like, I'm putting my trust in you to do this. Right. It's more like, maybe droids aren't all bad. You know what I mean? You never get that from him of like, I'm going to trust you to do this. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's also, I guess, the moment where he takes off the mask, and they have that little moment too. I just remembered, but
I mean, it's like he learns to trust that droid, but then his general distrust of droids also persists even after that, like into season 2 and stuff. So
in season 3 too, with that one episode with Jack Black, I think, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think, he still hates droids.
So I don't know. I'm kind of still looking for a button to be put on that thread, I think.
Yeah, I guess, and I don't, maybe because they knew the Dark Trooper thing was coming in season 2, they wanted to kind of keep that on a string a little bit, and like in terms of like, let's keep him kind of still hating droids. I don't know, but that I do feel like you're right. Like there needs to be some sort of more of a, I have to put my trust in a droid here. Moment. You know what I mean? I agree with you. So Zero exits the ship and reports that all the things wrong with the Razor Crest, leaking hyperlinks, intermittent navigation. The hyperdrive is operating only at 67.3 efficiency. And Zero ends up asking, why not use a newer ship? And Rand says that the Razor Crest is off both Imperial and New Republic grids. So I'm guessing, Mac, this is is this a Clone Wars ship?
Yeah. I mean,
is that when the Razor Crest was operating?
Yeah, we do know that it's like a classic antique from the prequel era. It's from, I think we get confirmation on that at some point. Somebody just there's a throwaway line somewhere that somebody says something that indicates it's from the prequel era. Like it would be from the Clone Wars, period. But that's the only way it would be. I think maybe it could have been a separatist ship at one point, because I feel like the Republic logs and registrations could still carry on through the Empire into the New Republic. But if it was a separatist ship and registered there, that information probably didn't get assimilated back into the Empire when that happened, So maybe that's why it's kind of off the grid.
Maybe. And then like I want to know how he got it too. Like I want to know that origin story of how he got the first Razor Crest. Now, of course, we know from the movie that we maybe were getting a trade. We know from the movie that there's a new Razor Crest that Zeb is flying around. So
yeah,
I just would like to know how he got the original one. I think.
Yeah.
Give us the story. So their plan is to board the ship through their blind spot, and Din doesn't think it's possible, but that's why Zero is piloting, and Rand says that they need him as a trigger, not a wheel, and Din is hesitant to trust Zero or really any of them. And then Din and the crew board the Razor Crest and depart the space station. And then inside in the cargo hold, Berg is sort of bumbling around, and Shion orders him to sit down, and he knocks a dagger out of her hand. And then in the cockpit, Zero takes the ship into hyperspace while Din watches closely from behind, just kind of making sure everything is going the way that it's supposed to be going. And then Zero tells them that he can handle it on his own. Like, okay,
stop
I don't need you
driving
breathing down my neck, Din. You can.
Yeah. Stop armchair quarterbacking. You're fine.
And then Din leaves and joins the rest of the crew. Berg is going through Din's gun cabinet, and Din shuts it on him, and they kind of have this tension as he gets down there, and Mayfield calms them down, truly being the leader of the crew here. And Din is kind of making things a little worse, I think, too, and just kind of like bucking up to everybody of like, why are you going through my stuff? When obviously they're going to be going through your stuff because they're on your ship.
Of course,
and Mayfield promises that they'll never see each other again after this. So like, let's just get through this. We don't have to like live together, like this is just a mission. So let's just get through this.
Like we don't have to be friends. We're just here to get paid.
Right. That's exactly right. So Berg questions why the team even needs a Mandalorian anyway. And Mayfield mentions that they're the greatest warriors in the galaxy. So I do like that aspect of it, of like, okay, so the lore in Star Wars is that Mandalorians are the greatest warriors.
Yeah. They believe that like we believe that, like that's the word on the street. That's what everybody around the galaxy believes. And that's very in line with the EU understanding of Mandalorians. It's good to see that is like, in with a show that has changed so many ways in which we understand Mandalorianism. It's good to see that like the galaxy still regards them the same.
Yeah. It's nice. Berg asks why they're all dead then, and everyone laughs. So that's, again, a kind of the great purge of Mandalore. People know about that. That's not something that is kind of kept secret. That's something that everyone in the galaxy knows, that the Mandalorians have been wiped out. So that's kind of good information to have too going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'd love to have a more concrete timeline of the purge, and we know about the Night of 1,000 Tears and stuff like that, but I'd like a novel just about the Great Purge, I think.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then I would also love, well, and we're going to talk about it a little bit at the end of this episode. There's some more rumors about the Mandalorian and Grogu. We'll kind of address on the end of this episode that maybe the trailer already addressed if it came out today. Who knows? In terms of Mandalorians, plural. Yeah. And if we're going to be seeing more of them. But it's interesting that the galaxy at this point kind of all know, like, they're gone, and what happened to them. So yeah, everyone's laughing. Mayfeld then mentions Xi'an and Din's past, and Xi'an asks Din to tell them about the job on Alzok 3. Din, uncomfortable, says that he did what he had to do, and Xi'an replies that whatever they did, Din liked it. So again, we're kind of getting that backstory that we don't know a ton about, but it's like Din maybe was a little rougher around the edges. Maybe Din kind of maybe had to overextend, or not overextend, but kind of like be more aggressive in his younger days to kind of prove himself.
I mean, his relationship with droids could have been such in the past that, because there was less time in between droids taking his family away from him and everything, like that wound being fresher, he could have been more actively seeking out to just destroy any droid he came across, instead of now where he's just distrustful of them. It seems like he was kind of actively trying to have some vengeance on droid kind.
Yeah, and that could be a lot of what happened on there. I don't know. Yeah, again, we need the story. Then Mayfeld gets curious what Din looks like under the helmet and asks if maybe he's a Gungan. He does a Gungan impersonation right there that I liked.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to do one.
Nope.
And then he
no Gungan impressions for me.
Right. Okay,
I'm good.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Then he dares Din to take it off. Take it off, Din. How can... Come on, Din, take it off.
Pour some sugar on me.
You like that?
That's good. That was good.
Take it off, Din. How can they trust someone if they can't see their eyes? And you know what? He's got a point there.
He's not being very understanding of Din's culture or beliefs or anything like that. But outside of that,
that's true.
I understand that,
yes, that's true.
It's tough that if you can't make eye contact with somebody, there's kind of a natural.
You know what they say?
What do they say?
Eyes are the windows to the soul, Mac.
Oh. Mm.
You have beautiful eyes.
I don't have a profound follow-up or anything because...
Let's just stare at each other. Okay.
All right. That was
anyway. I don't know what just happened.
Back to the episode.
Yeah. So then he gives Bert the go ahead and to try to take it off. Take it off. And the two scuffle and accidentally open a compartment containing Grogu. And this is the first time we see Grogu in the episode. You almost kind of forget about him until now.
And you're like, how could you forget about him? But you do.
Look at him.
A little bit.
Look at the little guy.
And he's just so curious about all the new people. He's like, oh, are you all going to be my friend? And no one wants to be his friend.
Nobody yet. Everyone stops noticing him. Mayfeld is very interested in him and asks if it's Shion and Din's kid. Din claims it's just a pet, and Shion is surprised and asks if the Bounty Hunters Guild made him soft. Again, kind of another indication, like, these people are so bad that they're not a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Like, they kind of look down. I'm like, oh, it's so PG with Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Okay.
Man, they're bad. Mayfeld says that he wants to make Grogu his pet when suddenly they drop out of hyperspace and Zero's flying just absolutely throws them around like rag dolls. And they finally land on top and they scramble the ship's signal. And once Din puts Grogu away, Din opens the hatch and Mayfeld is the first to go down. He spots some floating R1 security droids, and once they pass, the crew starts coming down. With Zero,
The R1 security droids are just Daleks. They just look like Daleks.
Right?
Big floating
They do.
trash cans. Yeah.
It's interesting that they're R1, right? I don't know if that's supposed to be like connected to R2 at all. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they do look like they could be the like big clunky prototype for astromechs, you know?
Yeah. They do kind of look like that. With Zero hacked into the system, he serves as their eyes and ears as they head into the ship, and then they come into contact eventually with the mouse droid. They pass by some prisoners. You see one of the species from Solo, the one that Jon Favreau played, kind of put his forearms up there and look in.
Yeah. I like to think that's a descendant of Rio.
R.I.P. Rio. I loved Rio. Rio's a great character.
Yeah.
Solo's a great movie.
Solo's good. It's one of the Star Wars movies I've watched the most recently.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second. Where are we? They come into contact with a mouse droid, and Berg destroys it, and then Zero. I'm sorry, it alerts the N5 Century droids, and just the shootout begins. And we get the first kind of indication of Mayfeld's blaster rig, which is super fun.
Yeah, it's like an automated turret on his shoulder, kind of. I think it's, I get the sense that it's kind of just an extra AI gun on his back, you know?
Yeah.
Which is weird, because if you were an Imperial sharpshooter, you wouldn't think you'd need AI to aim for you, but...
Well, you know, he's an Imperial sharpshooter. So then he starts looking around and he sees that Din is gone, but he's actually not. He appears behind the droids and absolutely just takes them out. Mayfeld isn't impressed. He tells them to clean up the mess. And Zero helps them by sending security away from their position. And once they get closer to the control room, they're surprised to find a New Republic soldier inside named Lant Davin. Yeah. Played by Matt Lantner, who is the voice for Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, just adding another big kind of guest star to this star-ridden episode, star-studded episode. I almost said star-ridden, like it's a bad thing. There's too many celebrities. Get them out of here.
Well, it was funny too when we first saw it. It's like, oh, that's Anakin. Anakin's in the episode, and the character that he's playing is he's so nervous and scared all the time. Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, the exact opposite of Anakin Skywalker. You know, overly confident and capable and all that. But it's cool that Matt gets to have his face in the Star Wars body of work and everything, just because he was only present in voice for so long. So cool opportunity.
Very cool. So both Din and Mayfeld try to reason with the soldier, but Davin pulls out a tracking beacon which will alert New Republic reinforcements. Shion is annoyed that Mayfeld kept this information from them. Like, Mayfeld knew that this guy was actually on there, but said that there was only droids. And then Din tries to talk Davin down. Mayfeld says that they have to kill him, and Din reminds him that will only bring the New Republic down on them harder. And Din pulls out his blaster, and we kind of have this Spider-Man meme showdown thing going on, right?
Yeah, it's like The Office.
Kind of that thing from The Office, yeah.
Pointing finger guns at each other, yeah.
Yeah. Things are getting tense in the standoff when suddenly a knife flies through the air and Davin goes down. But as he fell to the ground, he's pressed the button and alerts the New Republic. Now, here again, I just want to throw this out there. I doubt that there's a connection here, but I want to present it just in case.
All right, hit me with it.
If Din is somehow betrayed by the New Republic, it's because a family member of this guy, Davin, is very upset with him. Like it's your reason that he's dead. You know what I'm saying?
Personal vendetta for taking Davin down. That's
it. Just want to present that.
All right. We've received your speculation. I'll have to digest on that one. I'll have to mull that one over.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just needed to say it because it popped into my brain. And if I never said it, then I can't claim that I thought that. And I'm like, oh, sure you did.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
what I mean?
You're on wax now. So if it ends up being a long lost relative of Davin that brings the entire Din and Grogu show
Weaver,
to a stop, then Sigourney Weaver is Davin's mom. Actually,
yes. Yep. So they only have 20 minutes before the New Republic gets there, and so they head out of the control room and encounter two of the black hover droids. Berg takes care of them both, and then they make it to the cell and unlock it with 15 minutes remaining. And when the door opens, it's revealed to be Quinn, and Din knows him. It's because it's Xi'an's brother. And so in the confusion, Berg pushes Din inside the cell and locks the door. Now, here's my question. Was this their plan all along? To get revenge?
So I don't think they had any intention of, in good faith, working with Din. I don't know if it's in particular, like, they designed this to put him in a cell or anything, or if they were like, we don't really care about this guy. Let's just dispose of him this way so that, we don't have to worry about sharing the spoils or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if it was personal or not. I know later, they get information about.
I don't know. I kind of
like being wanted by the New Republic and stuff, but
I don't know. It just kind of felt personal in that moment. But I mean, it was personal. I just don't know if it was pre-planned or they just took advantage.
It's certainly
I'm
personal.
Still debating that. Yes. So he's pushed inside. Quinn chides. Oh yeah, certainly. Quinn chides Din on leaving him behind last time, and Xi'an tells Din that he deserves this. Inside the Razor Crest, Zero learns about his troubles with Greef Karga, and then back in the cell, Din is able to capture a sentry droid with his grappling cable, breaks his arm off, and unlocks the cell. And then from here on out, Mac, Din just goes full Batman mode.
Yeah.
Like it is just totally Batman. He gets back to the control room, and Zero informs that the rest of the team that he's escaped, and then Din just he's like a cat playing with a mouse. Just shutting the doors in between the groups, splitting them up, and then it's just taking them out from there.
Yeah, he's so good. I love watching him work in this way. Like you said, it's very Batman. He straight up is like doing weird, in the strobe light, you can see him in one flash, and then you won't see him in the next, and then he's closer in the next flash, and all that kind of stuff. The action here is great. Rick Famuyiwa, I think, distinguished himself early of just having a great handle on how to make Din seem just super capable. Just like a bad dude. So we've gotten a few episodes of nice fatherly, loving Din. And this is a very different aspect that we get reminded, like he's still that same guy. He can still go to work.
Yeah, I love it. I love every aspect of it. Yeah, and so inside the Razor Crest, Zero hears Grogu and sees him outside the cockpit, clearly curious to get the bounty on him, I think.
Yeah.
And then back on the transport, Quinn is ready to leave his sister behind, so we kind of know what kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we get those scenes of Din kind of just sneaking up on everyone. I'm not going to describe it in detail because we've all seen the episode.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool. He also fights Berg, and at one point uses the flamethrower on him, and because he's the devil, it doesn't hurt him.
Because fireproof. I think devils are fireproof. That's
you would you would think.
You would hope.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Deveronian really
so,
is just the funniest name for the species that just is the devil.
Right. It's, oh my gosh. Yeah. So then we get to, let's go to the part where basically Zero's about to close in on Grogu because Din takes out everybody. He takes out Berg. He shuts the door on Berg. I don't know how that didn't kill him, but somehow it didn't kill him. Because it should smush him like a cartoon, like flat, like a pancake or something, but it didn't.
I thought it was going to be the second door-based kill for Din, because we got the one in episode 1 where he cuts the Quarren in half, and I thought this was going to be another one to add to that tally, but alas, Clancy Brown pulled out.
Yeah. So he takes everybody out. He gets to Mayfeld. He turns around. He literally does the Batman thing of like, where are you? Here, like that whole thing literally happens with Mayfeld. And then we get to Quinn, and he makes it back to the ladder leading to the Razor Crest, but Din corners him, and Quinn assumes that everyone else is dead, and Mando says that they just got what they deserved. And I'm like, when I'm watching it for the first time too, I'm thinking, oh, he killed them. No, that's not the kind of guy Din is anymore.
Yeah.
And Quinn quickly pivots, offering to pay Din more and reminding him he was hired to do a job, nothing more. Then back on the Razor Crest, Zero finally finds Grogu, and Grogu lifts his little hand, maybe about to use the Force, but before anything can happen, Din shows up and shoots Zero from behind, and Grogu is just standing there with his hand like, wait, did I do that? Or who did this actually?
Maybe I don't know my own
nice
strength.
Little moment there.
Yeah.
And then with Quinn captured, Din leaves with him both and Grogu aboard the Razor Crest, and he jumps to hyperspace, heads back to Rand's station, and delivers Quinn. Rand embraces his brother and asks about the others, and Din just reminds him bounty hunting rules, no questions asked. And Rand pays him, and the two share a little nostalgia about the good old days, and then Din takes off in the Crest. But then we get the triple cross here. Not a double cross, this is a triple cross, the old triple cross, Mac.
You love to see it. It's one cross is great. That adds stakes and drama to any piece of fiction. The double cross, it's a tried and true way to just really subvert expectations. But you throw that triple cross on there, it's like, it's like the triple axle. It almost never happens, but when somebody hits it, mind blowing.
Oof. Mind blowing. Yeah, as soon as Din leaves, Rand tells Quinn to prep the gunship and to go kill him. And what they don't realize is Din planted the tracking beacon on Quinn. So when Quinn goes to board the gunship, 3 New Republic X-Wings piloted by Trapper Wolf, who is Dave Filoni, Jib Dodger, and Sash Ketter, who are also Rick Famuyiwa and Deborah Chow, drop out of hyperspace right on top of them. And these guys don't ask questions. They don't read your Miranda rights. They just shoot you right away. So do not mess with these New Republic Rangers, because they're just going to kill you.
Yeah, they have definitely not gotten into the disarmament, moving towards peace and pacifism side of the New Republic yet. They're in full blown. We're still fighting the Empire mode. This is I could see the rebellion shooting, this quickly and asking this few questions, but I'm like, it seems like terrible to live under the New Republic. This is an excessive show of force.
No due process. Jeez. Golly. Didn't even ask any questions. Just straight up destroyed them. So they spot the beacon, see the gunship launching, and blow it away. Then they destroy the entire space station and everyone on board, because we saw more people on board who probably had nothing to do with that. But oh well, you were just in the wrong place, wrong time for Trapper Wolf.
Well, like somebody could have been filming at the time and caught all of these New Republic pilots doing this.
Just
and they're like,
terrible.
we can't leave any witnesses. Can't have this coming out.
Jeez, Trapper. So meanwhile, Din slips away into hyperspace and Grogu is in the co-pilot seat, and Din hands him this little silver ball from the cockpit lever, his favorite toy, and says, "Told you it was a bad idea." And then we get one last reveal. Shion, Mayfeld, and Berg are still alive, locked away in a cell on the same New Republic prison ship. So it kind of lets you know that Din is a good guy still. Like, so don't worry about Din and Grogu. Everything's going to be A-okay with those two.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where we end the episode. This one I just had so much fun watching it this go around. It never has like hit quite the way it hit for me this go around. I don't know. I don't know if it's just time or, the added connections between the Believer episode in season 2 with Mayfeld, or I don't know. Like I've watched more Game of Thrones and seen Natalia Tina in it, or I've seen Clancy Brown in a lot more things since watching this the first time. So I don't know if it's that aspect of it either. It's I don't know, but it's just a great time. Like it is a tonal shift. It's not like it's driving the overall story forward in a huge way. But hopefully like we've come to a place with The Mandalorian where everybody can be cool with that and like understand how awesome it is to have these little one-off adventures that don't have to have big, huge overarching stakes tying it into everything and all that. Like sometimes it's just fun to get adventures with these characters we love and in this galaxy we like so much. So
yeah, I enjoyed it, and I know that we're gonna enjoy next week with episode 7, and that's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Yeah.
And right now, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna spend like 2 minutes talking about rumors because I gotta go. So if you don't want to hear these rumors, we love you, and we'll see you next week. But if you do, here they are. So here's the first one. The Mandalorian Grogu rumor is that Death Watch will be in the movie and assisting Din and the other Mandalorian clans. What do you feel about that?
I almost think if that's the case, it's confirmation we've got Bo-Katan. We're focusing on a lot larger Mandalorian stuff as possible, than I thought we would. Could also, just be Din going to an old mentor for help with this particular hunt. If he just can't find Rhoda the Hutt for some reason or whatever.
So I also think that it could be this. Like some people are seeing this as like Death Watch is back. I think it could also be just like, think about Blue Helmet, White Stripe. He's got the Death Watch symbol on his left pauldron.
Right.
It could just be as simple as that. Like there's a couple of Mandalorians who still have that symbol on them, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's more than one Mandalorian in that movie is interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's already more Mandalorians than I suspected we may actually have. I thought Din could be it for the film.
And who knows, Mac, maybe, if this trailer actually came out today when this episode's out, we know this already, right? Like and we'll be talking about it on our breakdown speculation of that. So who knows? But I'll save the rest of the rumors for some Patreon content for later. But we wanted to give you that little Mandalorian tease that's been going around. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and then you'll be with us next week as we do episode 7 of season 1. We're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done with season 1. Thank you guys so much for listening and staying with us in the off season and everything like that. Again, if you wanted to help us out and support us, you can check out the Patreon for just $2 a month if you want tons of bonus content and a cool Discord community to be a part of. Also, you can just leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. That goes a huge long way to helping us. And check out the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment, leave us a like on that video, subscribe, share it if you want, all that kind of stuff. That helps a lot too. But I think that'll do it for us. We'll be back next week with Chapter 7 of Season 1 of The Mandalorian. But until then, keep the watch.